Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Baltmatrix and welcome to the video review of Bandai Chogokin Tamashii Mix MECHAGODZILLA. Now you might be wondering what the heck this set is. This is not MECHAGODZILLA. Well, it will be. All three of these figures combine into MECHAGODZILLA. This is actually from a design from the Godzilla vs. MECHAGODZILLA from 1993. The original poster that was developed for this movie by Noriyoshi Orai was supposed to be a combiner of three different pieces. We have in the middle the flying Garuda, the Maser tank Dalva, and then the little dude over here, Naga. These guys were supposed to combine into one giant MECHAGODZILLA to fight Godzilla. We now have a figure set from that original poster design many years later, and they all do merge into MECHAGODZILLA, and Garuda even comes with a nice handy-dandy stand. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at each one of these things individually, and then we will combine them into the lovely MECHAGODZILLA. Taking a look at Garuda first, it looks more like a giant flying submarine than an actual jet. Garuda contains the MECHAGODZILLA head, chest plate, and tail and backpack, and that's pretty much it. It is an incredibly cool design that is quite large compared to the other two pieces, specifically because of the wingspan and the extra tail coming off the back. There are large guns here underneath, which I'll show you in a second. The cockpit can be seen right here at the very top, and as I said, it looks more like a submarine because of this tower right here. But I like this design. It looks very, very cool and is something that really, really is just so neat to my imagination. It is a VTOL unit, vertical takeoff and landing. It's just cool. Now, one word of warning. The spikes here on the side of the tail and going along the top are all incredibly sharp. They are not pointed, thankfully, as, you know, a rear spine would normally be, but they are incredibly sharp. I have poked myself a couple of times on them. They do hurt. Taking Garuda off the stand, you could see the underside. Here is the head of MECHAGODZILLA, the tail section, and then the chest pieces. The guns that I mentioned earlier are stored right there under the front of the fuselage. It's very hard to see, even with my new lighting. Oh, and new setup. I hope you like it. Overall, I think Garuda looks really cool, and if I'm honest, I kind of spent like 5 to 10 minutes just sitting in my chair, spinning around, going, whoosh, flying like I was a little kid. Yeah, I'm 37 years old and still doing that with toys. You can't blame me. This thing is awesome. Next up is the treaded Dalva unit, and I think this is the Dalva unit based on the Japanese kanji. I'm guessing this is the Dalva, just doing some Googling. I'm not really sure because there's nowhere online that says it is, but they list it in as Garuda, Dalva, Naga. So if Garuda is the flying one and they stack Garuda, Dalva, Naga, this one should be Dalva. This guy is pretty interesting. It's this little treaded tank, and it is the arms and torso of MECHAGODZILLA. It's got giant missile launchers on the front of the turrets, but it is a little tank. It is a very small little tank. It's really neat, though. I like it a lot, even though it's kind of obvious what it is. And you can see that the turrets are completely posable in this mode. There is also the little, I guess you would call this the, not canopy, but where the people who drive this thing sit here, and then maybe there's a gunner up here, though it is oddly designed. The treads on the bottom are all individually molded and really neat looking. Unfortunately, there's nothing to make the figure or unit roll. I kind of wish it did, but I'm okay with it as is. It's nifty. But of the three, I think it might be the weakest. You can also turn the turrets so that they are more parallel to the rest of the body. I do think that works. Either way, it's pretty cool. I like this way a little bit more because to me it's a little bit more realistic so that the people piloting it can see a little bit better. Last up is the Naga unit, and that is a giant Maser tank. For those of you that aren't following Godzilla movies, Maser tanks have been in these kaiju movies forever. They're super laser tanks. This is really cool because it not only has the Maser cannon, it has mortar cannons on the what will be the knees, and it also has rockets for super speed and missiles in the very front of the tank. Of the three, it's probably, well, let me rephrase that. Of the two land-based modes, it is my favorite. I think it is super cool. The turret is completely posable, can look up and down, can move around, and then these missile launchers that are at the top can swivel back and forth. Taking a close look at the turret, you could see, as I said, the missiles, or they might be lights, move, and then the cannon moves up and down and slides back and forth for the transformation. And we're going to go ahead and get into part of the transformation. Now, this is kind of cool. The Naga and the Dalva units do combine as part of the, well, transformation, but they also have a combination that the two of them can make. So the initial steps for the Naga unit are complete. We're going to come over to Dalva, reach underneath to the treads, and in the back treads, flip out connectors, which, believe it or not, this is one of the hardest parts of the transformation, is just getting these tiny little connectors to flip around correctly. I end up having to use a very small thing to push them in, or the tips of Garuda's wings will also work. So once we flip those around like that, then we can collapse the entire tread section down like this, come around to the front where this little dude is, and kind of push them up. There's a connector port right there that pegs into the bottom of the section where pilots go. So you kind of have to push it up, flip it up, and then you could fold these up and snap them into place, as long as you don't screw things up like I just did. So they will snap into place like that. And then come to the other side and flip out these pylons, and these pylons will drop right onto the top of the Maser tank and snap into place. Though there is quite a bit of force required in order to get them to snap in. So you push them down, and then you give them another push to snap them into place. And here we have the secondary tank mode, which this is an actual legitimate mode. This is the secondary tank mode. It works. You have the pilots here and some maybe turret gunners up here, and then these can turn and be wielded like normal arms. And then the Maser cannon still functions, but there is a little bit of limited movement, so you can flip these sections up and turn it back and forth. So believe it or not, that is actually an official mode. Okay, now that we're done this secondary mode, we're going to go ahead and get into the transformation/combination in earnest. So to start off with, take the center here that is the Naga's canopy, or I guess where the driver sits, fold it up into what will be the crotch. Come to the very front of the tank and push what will be the shins up. Grab the missiles and pull out to flip out the toes. And one thing to be aware of, these silver pieces right here that go across what is obviously the foot are just pieces of plastic that are painted silver like the rest of the body. They come off and fall off very easily. Then grab the entire wheel section and fold it forward and flip up the foot and flip out the heels. Believe it or not, this is actually incredibly difficult because the joint there is incredibly tight, which is a good thing, though it is a bit annoying. Once that foot is in place, you could take the silver piece that goes over the foot and just slide it back and clip it into place. Next, we'll come to the bottom of the tank and take these wheel sections that are above the knee and push them in to the back of the leg. Take the top section with the wheels, fold those wheels over top the wheels we just folded up into the back of the knee, and then take the thruster sections that are on the outside and hinge them over to form the outside of the top of the leg. Now that we've got this little Gerwalk tank mode going, we're going to continue on with the combination. This is where things are going to get a little bit weird. So we come to the back and then fold down these sections that are blocking the shoulders and flip them up like that. Then we come to the shoulder section and split it open. And as you can see, there are hinges, or a series of hinges in here, and they will actually fold out and then continue to fold out along those double hinges until those pieces are completely flush against the back there, like that, like so. Next, we want to fold down the entire shoulder section. So the shoulder section is pointing up and forward. You see where this little yellow piece is? First grab that yellow piece, hold it all the way up, and then flip the entire shoulder section down until it pegs into place in the top of those treads, like so. And then fold the flaps out just a little bit until they're about a 45-degree angle from the rest of the body. We're almost done. Next, let's move over to Garuda. So we need to prepare Garuda for merge sequence. First, take the wings and fold them straight up as much as they will go. Then come to the front of the fuselage where the nose cone is, and this entire red front section will split in half and fold out, and you will feel it snap into place. And then we're done with the front of the plane. Then take the head, fold Mechagodzilla's head down, then grab his neck and separate it from the tail. Fold the neck on the double hinge all the way up until you've got the head in between the two front fuselage sections. Then take the tail section and fold it all the way down and out of the way. Come to the front chest pieces, flip them out, unfold them, and then point them so that they are pointing forward just enough so that we can wrap these sections around the body of the Mechagodzilla. Oh, and one last thing. I keep forgetting this. There are these little tabs, little gray tabs inside. We want to fold them down as far as they will go because they will peg into the back of the Mechagodzilla. All right, so we're going to go ahead, combine these up, and just hopefully get everything out of the way. And what I like to do is fold the hips forward a little bit so that we could get everything pushed up and then get the tail pegged into place in that little peg hole, like that. And then come to the front and fold the chest pieces in, push everything into place, and hopefully get everything lined up. Oop. This is actually the hardest part of the merge sequence, is getting these two chest pieces together. As long as everything's lined up correctly, they will snap together with no problems. Then bring down these flaps, and then bring down the head, and the head will peg into place right where my finger is. There's a little peg and a little peg holder there. And believe it or not, that's actually a little bit harder than you might think. And then, once everything is snapped into place, we pose our Mechagodzilla. From toe to tail, Mechagodzilla is incredibly well detailed. The tail itself has multiple points of articulation. The figure has articulation in the ankles, in the knees, in the hips, torso articulation, shoulder articulation, elbow swivels, arm swivels, minor hand swivels, but it is limited due to the cables there on the inner hand. And its head is multi-articulated. The overall aesthetic of the figure is absolutely fantastic, and it is a beautiful figure. I can't stress that enough. The silver paint that Bandai has managed to use on this figure is exquisite. Overall, the coloring, there's nothing else I could say other than it is gorgeous. Mechagodzilla is also incredibly heavy. The figure is mostly die-cast with plastic on the outside. All of the inner pieces are metal, and there is so much detailing and weight and heft to this figure. Standing at 6.7 inches or 17 centimeters, the figure scales to about the same size as a Titans Returns Voyager-class figure. As you can see, it is also bigger than an RID and Titans Returns Deluxe, but it is significantly smaller than MP10 Masterpiece Prime. Overall, I like this Mechagodzilla a lot. I think it is totally worth having in your collection if you can swing the cost. It is about $180 just straight up. That doesn't include shipping. I picked this figure up over at the Chosen Prime. It is currently available there now or from your other favorite retailer. As I said, I like this thing a lot. I think it's got a dynamic nature to it that a lot of Godzilla figures haven't had over the years. The transforming aspect is right in my wheelhouse also. All of the alt modes that merge to form this Mechagodzilla are unique and cool that have all shown up in previous Godzilla movies. I really hope this guy gets an upgrade in a new Godzilla movie down the line. That would be very, very cool. So gang, I hope you have enjoyed this video review. As always, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you loved it, give me a subscribe, and let me know what you thought down in the comments. I am Baltmatrix, and I will catch you next time.